Ever.
So I relate the job process to dating because you see a job advertisement, you apply to it, they like you, they call you, and they're like, I'm interested in having a phone date with you, right? And I like to use this play on words, but this analogy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you came. Because as you're going through the process, I want you to think about it that way too, okay? So a phone interview is really hey, let's get to know each other before we really meet. And that, because that's usually like a 15-minute chat, 30 minutes at the most, right? Then and then if it goes well, they're like, let's meet in person. So like a date, let's meet at a restaurant, right? So you go and you meet that person, and it's really a back and forth conversation, right? And then if things go well, it's like, hey, let's go on a second date. Back and forth conversation, you're starting to get to know each other even better, and then the offer is really the proposal for marriage, right? So the person comes to you and proposes, and you want to be able to say, you know what, I'm so interested, however, here's my conditions. Pay off my house, but just kidding. Pay off my car, pay credit cards, I'm kidding. But here are my conditions. And then hopefully that person can be flexible with you as you're willing to be flexible with them, and then you get married and boom, you start your job. So you really do have to think about it like that. And like I said, Rocky, you were very lucky that he even gave you that time and place to say, okay, what happened, and let's start this relationship again. Can I trust you?
Right.
And you said, you can trust me.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you got married.
Yeah.
So just this last week, not this last week, but 2 weeks ago now, so weird, I told you the job market's really picking up, and I had a girlfriend who's a recruiter that's like, hey, we need you, just get ready, we're gonna need you in 2 months. And I'm like, okay, 2 months, that's July. I'm not gonna be ready to go back to work full-time in July. And I told her, I said, is it full-time or is it part-time? She said, full-time. I said, Rosalind, I can't do that, call me when it's, part-time. And then I got another phone call, and it was, hey, please come. And I'm like, wow, this market's really heating up. Same thing. Is it full-time or is it part-time? It's full-time. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not ready. In the fall, I'll be ready. And then I finally got a third phone call. It was like the craziest thing in 1 week. And my girlfriend who was at Fox was like, hey, I know we talked 5 months ago. We had a full-time job. We did hire somebody for that, but we're willing to be flexible this time around. Can you come and at least do 30 hours? And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. So it will come. It will come. You have to be patient with the dating process and then get married when you're supposed to get married. It really is about that. So, okay. So now you know who you are, right? Similar to I want twins, I want a house, you know who you are. That's the hardest part of the job, okay? Hardest part of your own personal work. Oh, hi.
Hi.
All right. So the next thing I kind of want to cover is the past predicts your future, right? You have this path and you go down this path, and you may start off, let's say as an assistant in accounting, and then you become a supervisor, and then you become a manager, and it's accounting. You have this path. You don't necessarily have to go that path, especially if you have a little bit of flexibility in your own career where you can play on what you've done in the past and create a new path. So whether you were happy or not with your past career, you can or you don't have to do what you did before. I know Christy and I have talked about. Christy, you want to share your story a little bit? Just very quickly, that you were in production, you were a producer, art director, and now, what kinds of things are you looking at?
Right.
You're looking at?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, so she's not sure, but you and I kind of talked about maybe it's not even a full-time job, maybe it's just contributing by volunteering for a charity, just something that helps you feel fulfilled. I've seen a lot of people kind of switch and kind of move into, and this can be more of a one-on-one conversation because I really have to see what you've done in the past and see how it can translate into something different. But just know it can be done. You are a good example of that,
She
too.
calls me a purple squirrel.
I do call her a purple squirrel. So Karin has a very unique skill set.
What?
Do you care if this is on or off?
Oh, that's fine. You're like
Karin
your boss.
is an attorney, and your specialty was contracts, right? She and I worked together years ago in the dental industry. And then what happened?
I started doing trainings, which is HR work, and I now know HR law really well. And I actually like HR better than legal. So my resume is all legal, and then it starts to go HR, and now I want to get into HR, and I have all this skill set, but I don't have the basic stuff, and I can't get the perfect job. So I'm a purple squirrel because the company that really wants a purple squirrel will be so excited to have me, but most people want brown
Yeah.
squirrels.
So purple squirrel meaning that she has a very unique skill set where if there's a company that has a lot of like employee issues, like legal issues, like for instance, there was one company you and I worked with on a contract basis that had a lot of sexual harassment issues going on, and the owner of the company was sued multiple times, I want to say.
Let's put it this way, I had no desire to work for them.
I know, you had no desire to work for them, but
Yeah.
unfortunately a company like that has a lot of issues is going to need somebody like yourself that can be that attorney,
There should be plenty.
HR background.
Well, I don't want to work there.
So she's kind of a purple squirrel. When somebody, they're going to interview, 5 people and they're going to meet her and they're going to say, that's the one, because everybody else does not have that law background. We need the law background. So.
And most people want brown squirrels with fluffy tails.
All right. So, any questions about that? Okay. All right. So now you're ready. You know who you are, right? You can choose to go back to where you were or try something different. So now it's time to dust off the old resume. So who brought theirs?
You didn't, did you tell us
Did you
yours?
say that?
Yes,
You brought yours?
No, I'm saying you did.
I did.
You did.
I
I did.
Yes!
Good job.
Busted out, and she gets $1. See, she earned
Yeah.
her first dollar.
It needs work. I kind of threw it together. I mean,
That's okay.
but there's like the
That's okay.
beginnings of it.
All right, cool. So,
I am so good
all right.
Yeah.
I don't have a couple. Let me look at the time. I think we have a little bit of time. Does anybody want to just quickly review structure of a resume?
I mean, so I haven't had a new job in 14 years.
Yep.
So my resume is probably pretty outdated, like in terms of the style. So
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
you
it's-
can use
yeah.
that as an example.
First
I
of
mean,
all, in my world, this is considered a very hot resume. But
what does that mean?
from the
Like
standpoint
good?
of who you are and what you're about, I get really excited when I see resumes like that. So I'm like, give me the phone! Give me the phone!
Why?
It's hot!
But why?
Okay, I'll tell you why it's hot.
But it's 2 pages.
Right.
It's too, okay, so.
No, and I say that because
Yeah.
everyone tells me that. But it's 2 pages.
So it depends on, okay, so ideally 1 page, but if you are more seasoned in your career, more experienced, 2 pages is okay. You just want to be careful, and it also depends on your profession too, but I would say, what profession are you in?
Advertising sales.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they're just like, give me the bullet points.
Which I do, but
Okay.
it's experience.
So, I mean, at least for me, what I look for is just what's written and how it's laid out. Well, I mean, I'll kind of go into what I look for, but whether it's 1 page or 2 page, I don't care. But maybe in your industry, it's more they want it 1 page. I mean, when I get 3 pages, I start going, I'm gonna kill myself right now, because then it's really interesting because a resume says a lot about who the person is. So if they have to use 3 pages, they're too wordy. I mean, I talk a lot. I should probably have 3 pages, but I try to contain myself.
How far back? I mean, like obviously, like do I go? I mean, like this is my first job out of college.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
like-
there's ways to sort of like trim it down. Like what I did for my first 2 or 3 jobs, I just put the company and my title and the years that I was there, and I didn't put any bullet points. So,
Right.
okay.
It also depends on how many jobs you've had, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's all
Yeah.
depending,
Or once
right?
you get into the industry, like anything not industry related, don't even.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard. I have to like really look at the each person's.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
if
advertising
you
sales, mine
can,
is 1 page.
so maybe that's the
Yeah.
thing for advertising sales.
Yeah, like there's like a bold and then small and then bold. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
very like abridged.
Yeah.
And
But
our resume is
tradition-
a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to sound
Yeah.
totally out of
Yeah.
it, but like for us, it's
Yeah,
not, you
it's
do
not.
not do a resume.
Yeah, your
if you
world
send a
is-
resume,
yeah.
it's so outdated.
Yeah.
If you don't have a website, that's peculiar.
Yeah.
You really
Yeah.
need to have something, some sort of digital
Mhm.
way to.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
show
you're
who you are.
With us, it's
Yeah.
on IMDb.
I know
and
your
you
world
send
has
your
always been
credits.
a little
Yeah.
unique.
But in other industries,
Yeah.
resume is still
Well,
there.
because of what you guys do, a lot of it is networking, and it's sort of like, well, I worked with Christy on the last project, and she's awesome. Give her a call.
In the
Yeah.
event that if I was into a different field.
Right.
Yeah,
I would
like
I
to
would
see
always
that.
say have a resume. I don't know. I'm just old school that way.
A lot on it.
Okay, so just high level. First of all, cover letters are
Why are you
complete.
excited about seeing her?
Huh?
Yeah.
Why are you excited about
Excited about what?
about seeing her?
Oh, I'll tell you. Okay, let me go over high level. Let me go over high level, and then I'll show you. It is high. So cover letters, don't even worry about it. They're outdated. Don't even bother.
Okay.
Don't bother the recruiter. We don't want to read it. I never
Nobody
read
reads it,
it. Like
right?
forget
Yeah.
about it. Okay, save yourself the 2 hours that it takes to craft a beautiful
If
cover
you're like
letter.
emailing a resume, then can you like in your like email, could you then, is that like your bulleted cover letter?
That's your cover letter.
It
That's
is,
what
but
I-
it should be like 2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Don't make it longer than 2 or 3
Okay.
sentences. It's like, it should just be an introduction and just, I've attached my resume for your review.
Okay, and the resume should always be attached, not like in the body, or should it be in the
No,
body?
it should always be attached.
Okay.
As a PDF.
Yeah.
PDF or Word is
Word.
fine. Yeah. Huh?
I would always do a PDF. I don't want to give
Oh.
somebody an editable document.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Whatever your preferences are. I mean, I'm really speaking from. I came from the world of agency for like 7 years, where I worked with many different companies, and so I was that go-between. I always just sent the resume in Word or PDF, whatever format it came to me in. And like I've been working the studio level. I've worked at Disney and Sony and now at Fox, and I don't touch resumes. If it's sent to me in Word or PDF, I just send it along. I know some recruiters that will help the person by editing some things. Like today, I had a resume that it was a girl who was fresh out of college, yet her resume was 2 pages long, and literally it was just skills on the next page. And my colleagues, I said, I want to get you this resume, but I'm having her fix it to put it on 1 page because her skills bled over to page 2. And she's like, oh, I just fixed that for people. And I was like, wow, you're really nice. Because, who has the time to do that? So,
Well, my professional background, I'm an attorney,
oh, there you go.
family law.
So you're like, don't touch my resume.
It's control.
Yeah, I think more and more people are doing PDFs. So whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe I'm just too honest. I don't touch people's resumes. I just
Format can get all weird.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I
yeah,
do.
that's
Yeah.
true too, especially with apples. Okay, so PDF
And
it.
different printers impact.
PDF it.
Yeah.
Different
Okay.
printers impact your Word documents.
Totally.
Yeah.
Objective. I always say, if your resume should speak on its own. Again, I know your worlds are different, so this is sort of broad. Okay. Objectives. I don't usually use them unless your resume doesn't quite speak to what you're looking for. So just put it as optional. If you feel like you need to communicate something because you're not using a cover letter, then go ahead and use an objective, but I usually don't even look at objectives. I go straight to experience, and what I like to see is, for me, I guess, again, I'm still old school, and I think even the hiring managers, they're not the millennials, right? They're hiring millennials, but they're not the millennials, so they like to still see stability. So there is one thing I will have Rochelle correct here on her resume, which is, so she's been with Dr. Phil since September 2002, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she was a researcher from 2002 to 2004. Then she became a senior web producer.
I
from
didn't
2004
obviously
to
jump from one to the
2014.
next thing. Like there was producer, senior, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
was like an AP
Right.
and then a producer. But
So
I just,
all this is fine. All this is fine. I would somehow consolidate it at the top so that it's reading September 2002 to present. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Because as a recruiter, we're getting anywhere for the higher level positions, anywhere between 75 to 250 resumes. So it's it just depends on, and I'm not trying to criticize people in my own field, but there are some people that are really good at what they do, and there's some people that are just like, oh my God, they've only been in the job for 2 years and they move on.
Okay.
I
Got it.
literally, there was a resume I sent to a hiring manager the other day that I was so excited about, and she's like, I'm not interested, and unfortunately I didn't touch her resume. I didn't have her edit it the way I probably should have had her edit it. And I said, why not? And she said, she's only been in her job for 1.5 years and she's looking to leave. I said, no. like, she's been at the job for 4 years. And she's like, oh, I want to meet her. I'm Myrna. And I was like, are you kidding me? If I did not have this phone call with you, she would have just completely passed on this person.
It was like on the resume as like a split, like she moved up and she like split it or something.
Yeah, she started out as like a content writer, and then she became it was actually for this type of position, it was a, what's the position? Web manager position. So her current role is web manager for the last year and a half. So.
So like change it up here, but then leave these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You just kind of, maybe you want to like lowercase this and then uppercase Dr. Phil Huffington Post, the doctors. I don't know how you want to structure it, but it's sort of almost like has anybody had multiple jobs at one company?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to use you as an example because that would be complicated. Okay, what's your...
I've sold for like a network of publications, so my resume is structured like News Factor Network, and then I list all the publications that I sold for.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
But you've had different titles. So I would just recommend going title, like your first title, and then maybe next to your title, you could do like,
Like
this
a
is how I
bracket
do
with the
it,
years.
with the parentheses, and then your total time, so like September 2002 to present. And then like, see what I'm saying? Like this.
Yeah.
So I was in this position from this time to this time, this position from this time to this time, this position from this time to this time, but I worked for the Dr. Phil show September 2002 to present. So it shows that you've had increasing responsibilities, and then you also have stability, and that you're loyal and you're valued. It shows a lot about who you are. So that's why it's a hot resume.
Well, that's good to hear. because,
Literally,
like,
I remember showing my old boss a resume of a friend who worked for British Petroleum, and she had this kind of career. And he looks at it, he goes, "I'm in love. When can I meet her?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you're so funny!" Like, it's really true. And then what else? And then it's just laid out well. You want to do experience, and then your education, and then your skills at the bottom. So that's that. Any questions on that?
Yes. Question with regards to college graduation. That is
Yes.
off my resume. I do not tell them the year I graduated college. I don't
Okay.
think that's important.
You
But
don't have to.
Exactly.
But did you put that you graduated college?
oh yes.
Okay, good.
But
Thank
not
God.
the year.
Yeah, I just took the date off.
Yeah,
That's
because
fine.
people
Like,
start
no,
doing the
I
math,
don't.
and you're like, screw you.
You know what, though?
So many of the things are the online things where
Yeah.
the computer generated, and it won't let you continue unless you put it in.
A year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
They'll
I'm
put,
just
like,
a
an asterisk,
consummate
like, you have to do
idealist.
it.
But I feel like, okay, again, it goes back to dating. You're online dating, right? And you see this person's picture, like my husband's, right? I saw met my husband online. And I was like, oh, he's kind of cute, right? And I met him. I'm like, okay, he was way much younger in his picture. And I literally asked him, I go, when did you take this picture? And he's like, like, if you have to think about it, I'm like, there's a problem. So I feel like you have to know what you're getting. And I mean, again, maybe I'm the consummate idealist, but at least the managers I've worked in the past, you know, if you are senior, it's okay to be senior, you know. I mean, I graduated college in 1994, and it's never hindered me, you know. I mean, I feel like I'm getting up there, you know. I don't know, and especially if you're at a manager level, you know, you want to show, like, you've got some years under your belt. You're not this kid, you know.
I've had different experiences across the board.
Yeah.
Especially
Then it's like, who do you want to end up marrying? Somebody that
Well, no.
knows who you are and loves you for who you are, or somebody that's like, I think she's a lot, you know, she's a different, I don't know, I just feel like you got to be real.
No, it's
Otherwise,
true.
it's not an honest relationship.
No, I get it. I
Did I
understand
get
that
you?
much. No, it's just a matter of, I mean, there have been certain times where I've indicated only a 10-year history of work.
Yeah.
Because maybe of the other stuff that was so early on,
Yeah.
it was like, it's not relevant.
Okay, do you want to know my impression of that?
Yeah.
What's this person hiding, and how much are they hiding, and were they at a senior level when they were hiding it, and did they graduate college in 1963? I mean, it is like, I literally go, who is this person? I start looking you up on LinkedIn. I call you to have a conversation. I try to understand if you're relevant, if you really know, you know, it's like, it creates sort of this.
Here's the thing. It's like,
I mean,
this
you
is,
can
I might
hire-
say something about recruitment, but
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm
the
not gonna,
worst
like,
question
say-
I ever get from a recruiter
Yeah.
is, so walk me through your resume. It's like, oh, for the love of God, really? Why? It's like, you have questions. What do you want to do? So normally what I do is I'm like, I'll talk about my most relevant job employment.
Good.
And they're like, oh, well then, but I see then they go back. You're like, why are you going so far back if the job
Because they have
doesn't
questions.
that?
They're not getting the honesty from you, so they're going to ask the questions. Like, because, you know why we ask? Because the hiring managers will ask. So literally, if I look at somebody's resume and there is a gap, okay?
I don't have any gaps.
Okay,
That's the thing.
I'm just like bringing something
Got
up,
it.
okay? But if there's something on there that's sort of like fishy, where it makes you go, that's why they're asking.
Yeah, but I
Because
worked
they're
at
going to
it.
get asked.
So my thing is, I worked at an ad agency many years ago, and it's like, that's so irrelevant. I'm in ad sales now, so
Yeah.
it's like whatever. And then they go back, so I'm like, what is that? I don't know.
But they might like that. I don't know. I just feel like honesty is always the best, you know? I mean, I have a girlfriend that left Disney off her resume, and I swear to God, it bites her in the ass every time because, and she was only there for like maybe 9 months, but industry is really small. And like, she invited me over to work somewhere with her, and they're like, so how did you know, so-and-so? And I was like, mutual friends. And I'm like, I couldn't say we worked at Disney together, you know? It's like, I don't know. I just always feel like honesty is the other, yeah, because again, like, you're going on a date, if they feel like you're hiding something, they're going to keep asking the questions until they find out what's the truth.
What's the reason that you don't put it on?
I don't care for people to know my age.
What did you say?
I don't care for people to know my age.
Now
That's
we
it.
really want to know.
Huh? That's all.
I know. Well,
It's a thing.
okay, so
And is there a lot of age discrimination?
I
There
don't
you
think
go.
so.
There's
Especially in
been a-
ad sales.
There's been a
If
lot
you are
of
in ad sales, you
articles.
understand
I
what
know
I'm talking
you and I
about.
talked about
Yeah,
that,
sure,
but
there's
I
some
feel like there's a butt for every seat, and yes, in
What?
some there's a butt for every
seat?
seat. Like if this
I've never heard that.
Are you really gonna show
I'm
us?
gonna literally know because I have to. It's frustrating because as a recruiter, it's like, okay, and I'm gonna tell you a story too because you guys aren't gonna believe me, but here's company. Oh my God, so pop culture, so cool, so relevant, you know, with what's happening, right? And then here's like maybe a company that's like a nice to work, 1980s kind of cool, but like you can be happy there and it's like a nice environment. So you have this like millennial who's interviewing for a job, and then let's say you have this person that's in their like mid-60s that's looking for a job. The mid-60s person probably not going to get that job. This company is going to be like, I would never hire the millennial because they're going to up and leave me in a year and a half. Like, I really do believe that. And my favorite story in this entire world, I'll tell you my favorite story, and hopefully this will change your mind about sharing your age, even though you're so young, and it's ridiculous. I was working for a company that does freight forwarding, which is, I don't know if anybody knows what freight forwarding is. I had to freaking learn about it, and I was like, this is probably one of the most boring industries I've ever heard of. But then, like, I realized the importance of it. So freight forwarding is like goods shipping, right? So this particular company had a big business. They had just brokered, like, I might get a little of this wrong, but they had just brokered a deal with South American florists where they would arrange the shipment of flowers into the United States. Okay, and then those flowers get distributed to all the floral shops, blah, 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 okay? So literally they're in the transportation business, but it's like airplanes and trucks and, right? Oh, do you know a little bit about it? A little.
Yeah.
So it's transportation, it's boring. They literally calculate, everything is on like gas and fuel, fuel and pricing and weight and tonnage and whatever, okay? Boring. So, they told me they were looking for a controller, which is an accounting controller, not a CFO, but a controller. So usually controller reports into a CFO, okay? Which in this position it did. They said, we want somebody out of our industry. You have to find somebody out of freight forwarding. And I was like, are you kidding me right now, right? So I'm talking to different people, not finding the right fit. I find close, but not right. And I'm leaving messages all over the freight forwarding industry, like, okay, I get this phone call. He's in the freight forwarding industry. I get his resume. He graduated school in 1973. And I was like, wow, I was born in 1971, right? Like, you know, so I'm like, he's got to be in his, like, I don't know, at the time, I don't know if anybody wants to do the math, but he was like in his, I don't know, what is that? I don't even know. So how old would he have been?
And
In
44
2000?
years.
Yeah.
Yes,
Huh?
it was like-
60s.
So
Yeah,
he was
he's
in
like
his mid
60s.
60s? Okay. And so the rest of the organization was very like the people that were executives were like in their 50s, like, you know, like kind of your normal what you'd imagine an executive to look and feel like, and then the rest of the staff was all mixed, like people a couple years out of school, you know, whatever. And so I'm you know, going through his resume, and I'm like, oh my God, he's perfect, right? And I'm like, but he's really old, you know, like, not that he's really old, but like, you know what I mean? Like, he's in his 60s, like, how am I gonna do this? Because usually, you know, I had been placing accounting and finance people for a long time, and controllers were usually like these kids, like, they're CPAs, and, you know, maybe they were like in their mid 40s, you know, maybe early 50s, you know, and so I said to him, I said, how's your Excel skills? You know, and he's like, really good. I do, you know, some pretty complicated modeling. And he starts telling me, I'm like, great. So I get off the phone, I call my client, and I'm like, hi, Dave. And I'm like, you know, he's like, how are you doing, Myrna? I'm like, good. I'm like, I've got good news and bad news. And he's like, okay, give me the good news. I'm like, I found a controller that is in your industry and seems very good for your role. He's like, great. So what's the bad news? I'm like, he graduated college a long time ago. And he just laughed and he goes, how are Excel skills? How are his Excel skills? I go, excellent. He goes, bring him in. And they hired him, and he's still there. And it's like 7 or 10 years later, and they love him. So
Good for him.
I really feel, I know,